Dad's silent revenge.
Sir, you need to see this. Those 6 words changed everything. I was walking to my truck after shopping for my son's 22nd birthday when a parking garage security guard approached me with his phone out. What he showed me in that grainy video would destroy 28 years of marriage and expose a fraud scheme that had been ruining families across 4 states. My name is Garrett Pierce. I'm 58, been a senior project manager in construction for 30 years, and I thought I knew my wife. I was wrong about everything. It was Saturday afternoon, September 7th, and Amanda had convinced me to spend the day at Northgate Mall shopping for Dustin's birthday gift. Our son was finishing his senior year at University of Washington engineering major, and she insisted we get him something meaningful for his 22nd. We'd settled on an expensive Tag Heuer watch that made my wallet hurt. But Dustin was graduating next spring, and Amanda said he deserved something that would last. We were heading back to the truck when her phone rang. Seattle Grace Hospital, she said, checking the screen. Her whole demeanor shifted from relaxed to alert. This happened a lot. She was a hospital administrator, always on call for emergencies. How high is the fever, she asked, walking a few steps away. CT results, right? Give me 20 minutes. She hung up and gave me that apologetic smile I'd seen 1,000 times. Emergency in the ICU. Dr. Mitchell's out sick, and they need authorization for a transfer. Can you grab the truck? She asked, already pulling up contacts. I need to call Dr. Vaughn to coordinate. This might take a few minutes. I took the shopping bags and headed across the parking garage while she stepped aside, phone already at her ear. Our Silverado was parked on level 3, west corner, same general area I always chose. Old Navy habits die hard when finding your vehicle quickly mattered. That's when the security guard approached me. He was older, maybe 60, with graying hair and a weathered face. His uniform hung loose on a thin frame, but his eyes were sharp, like someone about to deliver bad news. "Excuse me, sir," he said quietly. "Is that your wife?" The woman in the blue jacket? I looked back at Amanda, 50 feet away, still animated on her call. "Yeah, that's Amanda. Why?" His jaw tightened. "My name's Kyle. I work here Tuesday through Saturday." He paused, like he was fighting with himself. 2 weeks ago, I saw something you need to know about. Cold dread washed over me. "What are you talking about?" He turned his phone toward me. The video was grainy security footage, but the timestamp was crystal clear. August 24th, 3:47 p.m. Same garage, same level. There was Amanda with a man in surgical scrubs. He stood too close, hand on her hip with casual familiarity. She laughed, that same laugh I hadn't heard directed at me in months. Then he leaned in and kissed her. It wasn't quick or uncertain. It was practiced, comfortable, the kind that came from repetition. I watched it twice, forcing myself to catalog details through the shock. The man was younger, mid-40s, confident. Amanda's body language was relaxed, leaning into him. This wasn't their first time. I debated showing you, Kyle said quietly. But if it were my wife, I'd want to know the truth before I wasted more years on a lie. My throat felt like broken glass. Who is he? Don't know his name, but he's been here 4 times in the last month. Always around 3:30. Always in those dark blue surgical scrubs. Always with her. He paused. Something felt off after the first time, so I started keeping records. Records. Evidence. The word cut through my shock. This wasn't just some random guy feeling sorry for a stranger. Kyle had been watching, documenting. Thank you. I managed. My voice was steady, controlled. That's what 20 years in the Navy teaches you: process information without emotion. Wait for the complete picture before acting. You're not going to confront her right now, Kyle observed. Not yet. Not here. I glanced at Amanda wrapping up her call. Something like respect crossed his features. If you need anything, evidence, testimony, whatever, you know where to find me. Tuesday through Saturday, 2 to 10. By the time Amanda reached the truck, I had my expression locked down, neutral, just tired from shopping. Crisis averted, she said brightly, sliding into the passenger seat. You know how Dr. Vaughn always panics over nothing. Dr. Vaughn, the name hit like a physical blow. The man in the scrubs, the man she'd been kissing 2 weeks ago. She talked the whole drive home about hospital politics, Dustin's birthday plans, a new restaurant we should try. I made appropriate sounds, nodded at the right moments, but inside everything had changed. That night I lay awake staring at the ceiling. Around 2 a.m., Amanda's phone buzzed under her pillow. She always kept it there, claiming the nightstand alarm was too loud. She shifted, reached for it, and smiled in her sleep. A small unconscious curve of her lips. Who makes you smile like that in your dreams? The rage came in waves, but underneath ran something colder. My Navy intelligence training kicked in. Emotion kills strategy. The person who gathers information and strikes at the right moment wins, not the person who strikes first. If I confronted her now, what did I have? One video. Suspicious behavior. She'd deny it, explain it away. Better to investigate, document, build evidence that would hold up when I needed it. Sunday morning, I opened my laptop and searched Private Investigator Seattle. After 30 minutes, I found Shane Collins. His website was clean and professional. 15 years experience, former Seattle PD, domestic cases, discretion guaranteed. I called his office. My name is Garrett Pierce. I need to hire someone today. What's the situation? My wife is having an affair. I need to know everything. 2 p.m. address is on the site. Come alone. Shane's office was in Soto, 3rd floor of a converted warehouse. The space was spare desk, cabinets, coffee maker, no family photos. Shane looked about 45, lean, controlled, former cop without question. Tell me what you know, he said, gesturing to a chair. I gave him the outline. The parking garage footage Kyle had shown me, 8 months of warning signs, Amanda's secretive behavior. He asked sharp questions about her workplace, schedules, our finances. When I finished, he leaned back. You're calm. Most people aren't. Navy intelligence, I said. Emotion clouds judgment. What exactly do you want? Everything. Who he is, how long, where they meet, financial movement. I need something that stands in court. He nodded. $150 an hour plus expenses. 2 weeks for a full profile. I'll pay double if you do it in one. That got his attention. $300 plus expenses. Knowledge is leverage, Mr. Pierce, right now. She has it. Understood. Tuesday evening brought the first report via encrypted email. Shane had identified him, Dr. Trevor Hammond, 47, cardiac surgeon at Seattle Grace Hospital, lives in a downtown condo on Westlake Avenue. The activity log was devastating. Monday, they met at the Fairmont Olympic Hotel, room 847, registered under his name. She entered at 2:15 p.m., exited at 4:47 p.m. 2.5 hours while I was reviewing blueprints at a job site. Tuesday, Northgate parking garage, level 3, physical contact observed, 8 minutes. The same garage where Kyle had first shown me footage. The financial summary noted irregular transfers in our joint account. Shane was still investigating, but preliminary review suggested significant funds were moving. I leaned back in my home office, reading the report 3 times. Dr. Trevor Hammond, a real man with a title and address, someone who had been touching my wife, booking hotel rooms, messaging her at 2 a.m. But beneath the pain was something useful, information, evidence, exactly what I'd paid for. Wednesday evening, I went back to the parking garage. Kyle was there during his shift, directing traffic on level 3. When things quieted down, I approached him. We need to talk, I said, somewhere private. He studied me for a moment, then nodded. There's a bar 3 blocks east. Murphy's, I'm off in 20 minutes. Murphy's was the kind of dive that probably looked the same since the 1970s. Dim lighting, scarred wooden bar, the smell of decades of cigarette smoke. We took a booth in the back. I hired a private investigator. I said without preamble. He confirmed everything you showed me. But what I don't understand is why you told me in the first place. Kyle was quiet for a long time. His hands rested on the table, weathered and scarred. When he finally spoke, his voice was careful. I could have stayed out of it. Part of me wanted to. He met my eyes. But then I watched you, really watched you, and I realized you didn't know about any of it. There's something else, isn't there? Kyle reached into his jacket and pulled out an old photograph, creased at the edges, colors faded. A young woman, maybe early 20s, holding a baby. Beside her stood a white man in his 30s, suit and tie, hand resting on her shoulder but not quite touching the child. I looked at the man's face, the eyes. My father's eyes. The floor dropped out from under me. His name was Nathan Brooks. Kyle said quietly, 5 to 8 years ago, he had an affair with my mother while on business in Sacramento. She was a translator at a conference. He was married, had a 2-year-old son back in Seattle. He'd had me. He left before I was born. Never came back, never sent money. When I finally tracked him down at 15 and showed up at his office, you know what he said? I couldn't speak. He said, I have a family. I have a son. You're a mistake. Don't come back here. For 43 years, I kept that secret. My mind raced. My father, who'd taught me to throw a football, who'd come to every little league game, who'd worked overtime to pay for college, had done this. Had another son he'd threatened into silence. How did you find me? Kyle pulled out another document, a DNA lab report. My name at the top, his at the bottom. 3 years ago, I took a DNA sample from a coffee cup you left at a construction site. I was still a licensed PI, then mostly retired, but I had connections. So you took a job at the parking garage to watch me. 6 months ago, I wanted to understand if your life was really as perfect as it looked. His expression darkened. 4 months ago, I saw Amanda with Trevor. I recognized the signs, the careful movements, the looking over shoulders. I've done enough domestic surveillance to know what cheating looks like. My brother. This stranger was my brother. There's something else Shane found, Kyle continued. Your wife and Trevor aren't just having an affair, they're moving money, significant amounts from your joint accounts into something else. My blood went cold. How much? Based on what Shane's seen so far, enough that this isn't just about betrayal anymore. It's fraud. That changed everything. This wasn't just my wife cheating. It was something much worse. The next day, Kyle called. There's something you need to see at my apartment. His place was in Capitol Hill, third floor of an old brick building. When I stepped inside, I froze. The wall opposite the entrance was covered floor to ceiling with photographs, dozens of them. Surveillance shots of Amanda entering hotels, sitting in cafes, laughing with Trevor, getting into cars I didn't recognize. Between the photos were bank statements, business registrations, timeline charts connected with red string. In the center was an 8.x10 photo of Dr. Trevor Hammond in surgical scrubs, smiling easily at the camera. 8 months, Kyle said. I've documented 6, but Shane traced it back further. I moved closer to examine the evidence. February 14th, Valentine's Day. Amanda entering the Fairmont Olympic at 2:17 p.m., leaving at 5:43 p.m. I'd been in Redmond that afternoon for a site inspection. Then I noticed business documents pinned near the center. What's Summit Healthcare Partners, LLC? Registered March 20th, co-signed by Amanda Pierce and Trevor Hammond. Kyle handed me bank statements, transfers, $5,000, $8,000, $15,000. Over and over from an account I recognized, our joint savings. How much total? $120,000 over 6 months. Small increments to avoid detection. I stared at the wall of evidence. 8 months of lies, $120,000 gone, a fake business partnership. My wife wasn't just cheating. She was helping a con artist steal our retirement money. There's more, Kyle said. He showed me news articles and court records. Trevor has done this 3 times before: Portland 2019, San Francisco 2021, Denver 2022, same model. He targets hospital administrators, married women between 45 and 50, women with assets. Why hasn't anyone stopped him? Because they're ashamed. To expose him, they'd have to admit the affair, risk careers, risk marriages. He keeps amounts under major felony thresholds when possible. Kyle handed me a business card. Dr. Jennifer Hayes, San Francisco. She was victim number 2. She lost her job when the affair surfaced. Trevor drained a $400,000 inheritance before disappearing. She's been waiting for someone to stop him. When I explained your situation, she agreed to help. 2 days later, I met Dr. Jennifer Hayes at a coffee shop in Ballard. She was 49, polished professional, but her eyes carried exhaustion that sleep couldn't fix. When Kyle called and explained that Trevor was working the same pattern again in Seattle, I knew I had to help, she said, wrapping her hands around her coffee cup. She told me everything. How Trevor made her feel understood, important. How he pitched the business idea, a medical equipment company they'd run together. How she invested $400,000 of her mother's inheritance. How the contracts were inflated, the profits diverted. How, when the investigation started, Trevor's lawyers convinced the board she was equally guilty. My husband filed for divorce. The hospital terminated my position. I lost everything. She pulled out a folder. I've been building a file on Trevor for 4 years. Breaking my NDA could cost me legally, but I'm tired of watching him destroy people. Inside were photos of 3 other women besides herself, all professional, well-dressed, all with that same tired look, San Francisco, Denver, Portland, the same script playing out city after city. If we could get multiple victims to testify together, build a federal wire fraud case, maybe we could actually stop him, she said. I want to catch him in the act, I said. Get him on record admitting what he's done. Your wife would have to flip on him, betray someone she thinks she's in love with. She's going to have to choose, help us take Trevor down, or go down as his accomplice. That afternoon, I called my sister Rebecca in Portland. She was 60, a divorce attorney with 25 years experience and a reputation for winning custody wars. We arranged to meet at her downtown hotel the next day. Here's where you stand legally, she said, opening her laptop in her hotel suite. You have grounds for at-fault divorce based on adultery. The financial transfers strengthen your position significantly. If that LLC involved interstate transactions, we're looking at potential federal wire fraud. What are my options? Monday morning, we file for divorce, we cite adultery and financial misconduct. At the same time, we file an emergency motion to freeze all joint accounts. She pulled out a legal pad. Step 1, documentation. Step 2, emergency account freeze. Step 3, leverage the LLC fraud. Step 4, the house. She turned her laptop toward me. Did Dad ever update the mortgage structure? What do you mean? He inserted a protection clause when you refinanced after mom died. If the marriage dissolves under proven adultery, his estate retains an interest protecting your equity. Amanda forfeits her claim. Even from the grave, our father was still protecting secrets. The irony wasn't lost on me. The Seattle Grace Hospital annual fundraising gala was 3 days away. Amanda had been excited for weeks, buying a red silk dress, scheduling hair appointments. I'd been preparing differently. That morning, I rented a tuxedo. The clerk asked if it was for a wedding. Something like that, I said. FBI agent Ryan Campbell had briefed me the day before. The recording device was smaller than a pack of gum, taped flat against my chest under the tuxedo shirt. Washington was a one-party consent state. Every word spoken would be documented. I stood in the Fairmont Olympics Grand Ballroom, the same hotel where Amanda had spent Monday afternoons with Trevor, and watched her perform. She glided between hospital administrators, laughing, kissing cheeks, embodying the devoted executive's wife. Kyle was outside in a valet uniform arranged through an old contact. Rebecca stood near the bar in black, watchful, serving as my legal witness. "There's Dr. Hammond," Amanda said, touching my arm. Her eyes found him across the room. "I should introduce you. He's been incredibly helpful with board politics." She guided me through the crowd toward him. Trevor stood among surgeons in tailored suits, radiating confidence. His gaze found Amanda before we reached him, then shifted to professional neutrality. "Dr. Hammond," Amanda said warmly. "This is my husband, Garrett Pierce." He extended his hand. "Mr. Pierce, a pleasure." "Likewise," I said evenly. "Amanda speaks highly of you. She's told me so much about your work these past few months. Your investment advice, your ventures, Summit Healthcare Partners." The color drained from his face. Amanda's grip tightened on my arm. "I've been studying how that company operates," I continued quietly. "Pricing structures, vendor contracts, transfer patterns. Construction teaches you to respect documentation. I don't know what you're implying," Trevor said. "I know everything. Every meeting, every transfer, every hotel room. Fairmont Olympic, room 847, Monday afternoons. Summit Healthcare Partners, registered March 20th, co-signed by you and my wife. $12,000 transferred from our joint accounts." Amanda made a small strangled sound. "You don't know what you're dealing with," Trevor said, leaning closer. "I have friends, board members. I'm a respected cardiac surgeon. You're a construction worker. Who do you think they'll believe?" I smiled because he just handed me exactly what I needed, recorded and preserved. "Let's find out," I said, then raised my voice just enough for nearby guests to notice. "Very nice meeting you, Dr. Hammond. Enjoy the evening." I walked away, leaving them frozen under crystal lights. The drive home was silent. Amanda sat rigid beside me, staring straight ahead. When we pulled into our driveway, she finally spoke. "What have you done?" "Nothing," I said calmly. Yet, she followed me inside, her heels clicking on the hardwood floor. In the kitchen, she turned to face me, and for the first time in months, I saw real fear in her eyes. "Garrett, whatever you think you know, I know about Trevor. I know about the money. I know about Summit Healthcare Partners. I know about February 14th, March 7th, April 9th. I pulled out my phone, showed her timestamps from Shane's surveillance. "I know about room 847. She collapsed into a kitchen chair, all pretense gone." "How long have you known?" "2 weeks. Long enough to build a case that will hold up in court." Monday morning brought divorce papers and frozen accounts. Amanda couldn't access another dollar without court permission. By Wednesday evening, she was desperate enough to make mistakes. My phone buzzed with a voicemail from Amanda's number. At first, I thought she was calling me. Then I heard rustling sounds, muffled movement. Pocket dial. "Trevor, please pick up," I heard Amanda's voice, trembling, then ringing, and a click. "What?" Trevor's voice came through, cold, flat. "Trevor, thank God. Garrett knows everything about us, about the money. He froze the accounts, filed for divorce. I told you not to call me. What do we do?" "There is no we anymore, Amanda. You were careless. You let yourself get caught. I can't be associated with this. But you said we'd start over together." I said a lot of things. "Look, this was fun while it lasted. But you've become a liability. The LLC is in your name. The transfers came from your accounts. Your signature is on everything. Good luck explaining that to your lawyer." Click. The line went dead. For several seconds, nothing but Amanda crying. Then the voicemail cut off. I saved it, forwarded it to myself, backed it up 3 different ways. Trevor had just gift-wrapped us a confession. 2 weeks later, I sat in a hotel room with Amanda, Rebecca, and FBI agent Ryan Campbell. Amanda looked like she hadn't slept in months. No makeup, sweatpants, hair in a messy bun. Mrs. Pierce, Agent Campbell said, "You're facing federal wire fraud charges. The $120,000 you transferred constitutes federal bank fraud. 5 to 10 years in prison if convicted. He spread photos across the table. 5 women, 5 different cities, over one bought $8 million stolen across 10 years. Trevor used the same words with each victim. He showed Amanda a comparison sheet of identical messages Trevor had sent to different women. You weren't special, Mrs. Pierce. You were a target. Amanda looked like she might be sick. Here's how this works, Campbell continued. You call Dr. Hammond, tell him you're scared, that your husband is threatening you with fraud charges. He'll come to your hotel. Men like him can't resist reasserting control. That afternoon, I sat in an FBI observation room watching Amanda pace in her hotel room. At 3 p.m., Trevor knocked. When she opened the door, he looked impatient, checking his watch. This better be important. I've got surgery in 2 hours. Garrett knows everything, Amanda said, her voice small and frightened. Your husband is fabricating stories because he's angry. He froze our accounts. He says I helped you steal money. Trevor grabbed her arm. Listen to me. Summit Healthcare Partners was legitimate. If your husband is trying to turn that into something criminal, he's desperate. Then why did you stop answering my calls? Why did you tell me you loved me and then disappear? Trevor walked to the window, his back to her. When he turned, his tone was different, colder, calculated. You weren't the first, and you won't be the last. I've been doing this for 10 years. Portland, San Francisco, Denver. You were just easier than most. Married, middle-aged, lonely. You had access to money, and you wanted to believe someone still saw you. Amanda stood frozen. I told you what you needed to hear. Just like I told Jennifer in San Francisco. Just like I told Carol in Denver. Women like you are easy. You're so desperate for attention that you'll sign anything, transfer anything, believe anything. He stepped closer. And when your husband comes after me with lawyers, I'll remind him that every transaction was consensual. Every document has your signature. You're not a victim. You're a co-conspirator. In the observation room, Agent Campbell took off his headphones. We got him. Friday morning, I stood in the parking lot of Seattle Grace Hospital as 3 black SUVs arrived. Agent Campbell had planned this carefully. 7:15 a.m., shift change, maximum witnesses. Through the glass doors, I watched Trevor walking down the main corridor in surgical scrubs, talking to residents. He looked up, confused, then shocked as Agent Campbell approached with 3 other agents. They cuffed his hands behind his back and walked him through the hospital. Not the back exit, but the main hallway, past nurses' stations, past surgical suites, past administrative offices. A perp walk in surgical scrubs, past colleagues who'd trusted him. When they reached the main entrance and Trevor stepped outside, he saw me standing beside my truck 50 feet away. I raised my coffee cup in a mock salute. Even from that distance, I saw the hatred flare in his eyes. News vans arrived as they loaded him into the SUV. By noon, every medical professional in Seattle would know. 3 months later, Trevor's trial began. I attended key days with Jennifer and 2 other victims who'd finally come forward. Amanda testified under immunity, describing how Trevor manipulated her into the LLC partnership. The jury watched his recorded confession, heard from multiple victims across 4 states. After 2 weeks, they deliberated 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. At sentencing, the judge showed no sympathy. You abused your position in education systematically. The harm you caused is profound. 15 years in federal prison, medical license permanently revoked. The divorce was finalized in November. I kept the house worth $800,000. I kept $1.2 million of our $1.4 million retirement savings. Amanda walked away with her 401k minus about $200,000 and started over in a 1-bedroom apartment in Redmond. There was one more truth to face. The DNA test I'd ordered weeks earlier confirmed what I'd suspected. Dustin wasn't my biological son. 22 years of believing he was mine, and it was another lie Amanda had carried. But as I held those results, I realized something. Biology doesn't make a father. Love does. Presence does. 22 years of showing up, teaching him to drive, helping with homework, being proud of his achievements. That's what made me his dad. I haven't told him yet, maybe after graduation when he's ready. For now, he's just my son, and I'm just his father. Some truths can wait. 6 months after Trevor's sentencing, I'm building something new. Jennifer and I have been seeing each other for 4 months now. 2 people who understand betrayal, learning to trust again. We take it slow, building something honest. Kyle comes by for dinner every Sunday, the brother I never knew I had turned out to be exactly what I needed. Shane, who Kyle sort of adopted years ago after Shane's parents died, joins us sometimes. It's an odd family, but it works. My construction business is thriving. Word spread about how I handled this crisis with restraint and professionalism. Clients respect that. New contracts keep coming. Sometimes people ask if I regret not confronting Amanda immediately, not letting emotion drive my choices. The answer is no. Real revenge isn't about destroying people who hurt you. It's about protecting what matters most, your future, your integrity, your family. I'm 58 years old, starting over, but not from nothing. I have Dustin, who still calls every week, and still calls me Dad. I have Kyle, the brother I found in a parking garage. I have Jennifer, who understands what it means to rebuild after betrayal. I have Rebecca, who fought for me when I needed it most. The family you choose can be stronger than the one you're born into. And justice served through the legal system tastes a whole lot better than revenge served hot. That's what I learned from a security guard who said, "Sir, you need to see this. Sometimes the worst betrayal leads you to the truth you needed most." Trust isn't just about believing someone, it's about verifying that belief with evidence, because the people closest to you have the most power to destroy you. Sometimes God uses betrayal to reveal the family you were always meant to find, and the strength you never knew you had to rebuild something better.